Good morning.
Good morning.
How's everyone doing?
Great.
Good. Happy Friday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right. Kind of a rainy day. It's probably a good thing to put out some of those fires.
Yeah.
So grateful for that. Boy, it was coming down hard last night in West Jordan. Good rain.
I was looking at some of that lightning, wondering if it was going to start some new fires.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe it did.
It was pretty awesome. It was just,
Yeah. Gratitudes, victories. Jeff.
I closed one yesterday, actually took another edition the day before, and picked up a new virus.
Awesome. That's a good week. Do that every week and you don't ever have a problem.
Right?
yeah,
Good
a lot
job.
of guys
More
do.
problems, but they're good ones.
That's right. Good job.
Under contract on a lot yesterday, and
Yeah,
then
you got that
a
one?
new buyer, and possible new listing.
Nice.
So, and I'm grateful for the role play and all these different objection handlers that we practice because it helps me take a step back and think, I don't have to react to this, I just need to ask questions. Because it was the mother-in-law objection truly that I got, my mother-in-law just got her license, so we want to kind of, so it was really great actually having the tools to be able to manage that.
To manage that
Yeah.
and have confidence going through it.
Yeah.
Yeah, good job. Great job on that.
I had my first buyer come into the office yesterday.
Yeah, like set up an appointment for them to meet you here
Yeah.
kind of thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, was that scary?
I don't know why I've never done it, but I've been getting burned a couple of times. So,
Uh-huh.
so I just haven't come and signed. So that was good.
Cool. Yeah. If you can get them to come in, it's kind of your turf. There's their turf. You get things done here.
Get them on your ground.
Get them on your ground. They listen to you a little bit better. So good job on that. Awesome. Anybody else? Okay, so real quick, just a couple of announcements. Pumpkin Patch is coming up in October. This is a great opportunity for SOI to be part of that. And there's going to be, this is one where some of the bigger teams will have booths and they'll do some fun stuff. We'll have mazes, people there dressed up for pictures and pumpkins. So it's a great opportunity, one, to mail your SOI, two, call them, and three, provide something that's fun, so it's an easier call. Hey, I just wanted to invite you to come out to a pumpkin patch. There's going to be lots of people, and we were thinking about you. Easy call. Does anyone have a problem with that kind of a call? That's so much easier to do. So if you take advantage of it, you can get a deal from it. So that's coming up. RSVP at the front desk, so you can get it. I think you get 50 postcards, and correct me if I'm wrong, but 125 to participate, and you can invite. You get 50 postcards to send out to your clients. Okay. Any questions on that? Comment?
All four of my SOI deals this summer came from the Easter egg.
Yeah.
Just calling, inviting people.
So I would venture to say that those 4 hours you spent on the Easter egg day and the $150 you spent on that was worth it.
Oh yeah.
So
Yeah.
kind of a business decision.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll help you out with the hard math. 4 deals. So awesome. Summit next week. Put that on your schedule. Tuesday, 11:30 to 2. Don't want to miss that. Any opportunity you get to hear from the leadership, George, Sam, and we even got Austin, who's one of the top teams in the office he's going to be speaking to. Okay. Any questions on those? Okay, so today is objection handlers. We're going to go through a couple more of the objection handlers. But first, before we go into the objection handlers, what was the challenge I gave last Friday for us to do? Does anyone remember what that challenge is?
3 different ways, 1 handler per week, and 3 different ways to do it.
Okay. Did anyone take me up on that? Who stole all the objectives out of there? They left the expires, they left the listing price.
I don't know.
Does everyone have a book?
Yeah.
Okay, Ruby's got a book. Does anyone else have a book? Here's a book. You have books? Where to go? I know you got them memorized.
Have you got a few?
I might put it up on the screen. But let's see. Maybe we can spread them out and we can still do them. You got one?
If somebody else.
I can grab a few of that.
Okay. Okay, so let's go through, let's just review. Okay, remember when we're handling objections, it's exactly what Carrie said this morning, is you get a little bit more confident when you have an answer for them. We cannot be surprised when they give us objections. Be excited about them giving us objections. If they're giving us objections, that means we're still moving forward. If they've stopped giving us objections, but they're not signing, now we have a problem. Because we're not going to be able to move them forward. So getting an objection from them is something that we should be okay with as long as they're not just signing. If they're signing, great, just have them sign. But if they aren't signing, we want to hear the objections. We want to go that direction. We want to be excited about them. So every time we give an objection, we're going to say, I'm so excited you brought that up. Why would we say that?
Because it's more
They're still
discussion.
moving forward.
More discussion?
They're still moving.
They're moving forward, but what else does that do? We talked about this last week. Just a quick review of last week.
Puts them at ease.
What's that?
Puts them at ease.
Puts them at ease. Not just them at ease, but also can help you.
You get information.
Okay.
Those two.
When you're telling your brain that I'm so excited you brought that up, you get yourself out of that fight or flight mode, so you actually start thinking again. You have a friend in the business. You have a friend in the business. Oh crap! This is one that that stops you from thinking. But if you know what to say, you can move through it. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to review the first three, and then we're just going to chant through the first three. So I'm going to give you the objection, and then we're going to go through it. Hopefully it's smoother since we practiced a couple times. And then we're going to talk about the next three in the list. Does that make sense?
Is this listing?
You are on 66. We're doing objection handlers today. 66?
Yeah, there's listing and buyers on this one. It's 66.
Okay. Yeah. 66. All right. So when we role play, I want to stand up so we can have some energy. So let's stand up for a second. Are we excited for this?
Yes.
Yes.
I'm so
Okay.
excited you brought that up.
So excited about that. Perfect. I just want to see who was going to answer that first. All right, here we go. We want to only give you a 30, 90-day listing.
I'm
I'm so excited you brought that up. I'm sorry, I won't do that. 6 months on our company policy. Therefore, all we need to do now is simply sign the contract so I can help you get what you want in the time you want. Won't that be great? Sign the contract. Remember, when there's a ... it's just a pause. Sometimes we think that we're pausing, but we're really just rolling through to the next one. Actually pause, because the way these are written, they're designed for them to think and also for you to emphasize specific things for them so that they're triggering. Okay, they call it the NLP, neuro-linguistics programming, where you're saying certain things to help them think in a certain way. Okay, it's not a manipulation, it's just to help control the conversation. We're leading them through these objections. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Great. Okay, we're thinking about another company, we've never heard of yours.
I'm
so
so
excited you brought that up. I can
I
understand your concern, and I think you realize this company doesn't sell a home, it's the individual agent's activities. Do you feel like I can sell your home? Yes? Terrific. All we need to now is simply sign the contract so I can help you get what you want in the time you want. Won't that be great? Sign the contract. Great. We'll save the commission by selling ourselves.
I'm
so excited you brought that up. I
agree
appreciate
with
the
you.
commission by selling yourself. Are you aware that today homes are for sale and last month, well, it actually sold? That's a 6 month supply of homes, even if no other homes came on the market. And last month, 1,500 homes went on the market. And what's worse is the fact that only 2% of all homes sell themselves, and the remaining 98% are listed and sold by real estate agents. Can you afford to only have a 2% chance to sell your home? Let's do the right thing. Simply sign a contract so I can help you get what you want in the time you want. Won't that be great? Sign the contract. Who knows what those numbers are for this week?
Shame.
Sign the contract.
Okay, can't answer that question unless we have those numbers. So look at the numbers. Know your market. Be the expert in the market. If you want to set yourself apart, Set yourself apart with little things like this, knowing what the market is. Because if you were in front of somebody, what's the tendency? If you were in front of a client, what would be our tendency? Yeah, we want to be the expert. What if we were answering that question? What would we have a tendency to do?
Hesitate.
Hesitate. Okay, what would you say?
Talk too long.
You'd talk too long, or you'd make up numbers. Hesitate, talk too long, or you'd make up numbers. I can tell you, if you make up numbers with somebody who knows their numbers, you lose the deal. Just so you know.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So let's run through this next one. We haven't done this one yet. So we'll chant through it and then we'll talk about it. Number 4. Let's list high. We can always come down later. I'm so excited you brought that up. I understand you want to list high to leave room for negotiating. And have you considered the problem that creates for you? Most people won't even bother looking at properties that are priced too high. Would you rather have a bidding war in your home or not have the opportunity to negotiate on house at all? All we need now is sign a contract so I can help you get what you want in the time you want. Won't that be great? Sign the contract. Great. So questions about that one. Has this one ever come up?
Yeah.
Yeah? Has it come up a lot? Yeah. Yeah, everyone wants to be the highest one in the neighborhood. They all want to sell for the highest price, right? So let's look at that. Is there any problems with this objection that you have? Anything that concerns you or that makes you uncomfortable saying? Does everyone understand why listing at high leaves room for leaves room for negotiating? Have you considered problem creates for you? So do you see why they're thinking that? Okay, most people won't even bother looking at properties priced too high. Even in today's market, are you watching how homes will sit on the market if they're priced too high?
Yeah.
And they'll get no showings, right? And as soon as they get within the market, what happens to them? They sell really fast, right?
Yeah.
So the average days on market's anywhere from 15 to 18 days right now, but if you price your home out of the market, it's going to sit on the market.
Right.
So we need to make sure we're doing this. This is one that if we can help them understand this process, we're going to be better off getting their property sold. Does that make sense? Okay, any questions with that one? Okay, let's run through it real quick one more time. Let's list high, we can always come down later.
I'm
so excited you brought that up. I understand you want to list high to leave room for negotiating. And have you considered the problem that creates for you? Most people won't even bother looking at property that's priced too high. Would you rather have a bidding war on your home or not have the opportunity to negotiate the offers at all? All we need to do now is sign a contract so I can help you get what you want anytime you want. Won't that be great? Sign the contract.
Jason,
Yes.
I believe the reason Mike put to leave room for negotiating instead of to see what happens is he's doing an assumption right there that the price is gonna have to come down.
Mm-hmm.
To leave room for negotiating, and it's an expectation that it's going to happen.
Yeah, he's setting them up so that it's not a harder job when you discover that. Because we don't know what the exact price is, right? So we could bring it down to our price and we still be too high.
Either way, it's gonna get it to where the market will buy it.
Yeah, great point. Thank
You
you
guys,
for
I
bringing
printed these out if anyone wants to take notes. If you guys need it.
that. Perfect. Thank you. Thank you, Rudy. Okay, number 5. We want to let's chant through it one time. So I'm going to do 5 and then 5A. We'll go through the whole thing and then we'll talk about it. Okay, we want to think it over. I'm so excited you brought that up. That's great. And says 3 minds are better than 2. Let's think out loud together. Tell me, what are you thinking about? Well, we want to sleep on it. I'm so excited you brought that up. You're right. This is a big decision, isn't it? Yet, the decision must be based on what you want, right? Let's do this. Sign the contract tonight. Contingent upon your approval within 24 hours. That way we both win. Can I tell you how? You have 24 hours, no pressure, so you can feel comfortable and sleep on it tonight. Then I'll call you in the morning and you simply tell me yes or no. If you say no, I'll rip up the contract and you have no obligation. If you say yes, I'll begin marketing your property immediately. Either way, all we need to do now is simply sign the contract so I can help you get what you want in the time you want. Won't that be great? Sign the contract. Perfect. So let's go over this real quick. We want to think it over. How many times do we hear this?
Well,
All the time.
All the time, okay? This is one of the challenges I've always had because for me, I give them so much information that they literally need to think about it. So I talk too much. That was one of my challenges in my presentation, is talking too much. So they're like, wow, this is a lot to process, okay? That's why sticking to a script is so important. This we're going to get a lot, but here's the challenge with them. This is what I want you to consider. When you read this objection, how many people fall into the category of the seller here that feel the same way? When they hear of something, they want to think it over. How many here feel that same way?
Almost everyone.
Okay? Okay, a lot of you are in that position. If you come into this objection and you're using your story and your feeling about how you feel about this particular thing, you will not get them to sign. Okay? This is something that you have to help them feel confident that what they're doing makes sense. If you're talking from your story, and we just asked, everyone has a story that I don't like to sign on the spot. I want to think it over too. Because we've all done that with a seller or some situation. I'm going to think about it. Okay? If we believe that in ourselves, when we answer this, we're going to be really weak. So we got to look at it and say, is this a benefit to the seller or is this a benefit to yourself? What do you think?
Both.
Okay, both. Why would you say the seller? How is it a benefit to the seller?
Because we're helping them get what they want.
Right, I like that. Perfect. Okay, so that's the belief we have to have. By them signing tonight, it's them making a decision that's best for them. And if we believe that, we can move through it with confidence. Otherwise, when you get through here, and we're going to talk about, I want to sleep on it, and think about it tonight, one of those, we might run through the words, but if our conviction's not there, they're going to say, no, I'm going to think about it.
Also on that, I think if they sign and they say they're thinking about it, you say I'll rip it up tomorrow, that means that means there's not an objection, they are really just thinking about it. And if they absolutely will not sign, they'll probably give you another objection, something different.
Yeah, something that's concerning to them. So, yeah, great point. Thank you, Ruby, for that. Okay, so we want to sleep on it. I'm so excited you brought that up. You're right. This is a big decision, isn't it? We want to acknowledge the fact that their reasoning for thinking about it is valid. We don't want to just be like, why are you thinking about it? It's valid. They need to think about it. Yeah, this must be based on what you want, correct? So we just went through a whole presentation of finding out what they want. And we just presented with them a solution to what they want. If we haven't done that, then they really do need to think about it. Then you need to go back and present what they want, figure out their problems, and look for the solution. Let's do this. Sign the contract tonight. Continue upon your approval within 24 hours. That way we both win. Okay, the chances if they sign tonight that they're going to cancel tomorrow, are they high or low? Low, right? That's the reason we're doing this. Now, if they do choose to cancel the next day, I don't want to have any phone calls that call me saying, your agent has me under a contract and they said they're going to rip it up and they're not ripping it up. If you tell them you're going to do that and they call back and say we don't want to work with you, then go back and handle some more objections. But do what you say you're going to do. Let's see. Okay, you have 24 hours, no pressure, so you can feel comfortable. This is a really key one. I want to go through this one really slow for you. This is where the pause and emphasizing words is so important because there's so much information here that will help you. You have 24 hours with no pressure, downswinging, no pressure, so you can feel comfortable. Is that what they want? They want to feel good about their decisions?
Yeah.
Okay, so you can feel comfortable and sleep on it tonight. Then I'll call you in the morning and you simply tell me yes or no. But I want you to emphasize the yes. When I call you in the morning, you'll tell me yes, pause, or no. And then you say, if you say no, I'll rip up the contract, you have no obligation. If you say yes, and I want you to really emphasize the yes again, if you say yes, I'll begin marking your property immediately. And then you'll go through it. Does that make sense? Any thoughts or comments on that? Okay, let's run through it one more time. We want to think it over. I'm so glad you brought that up. That's great. And since 3 minds is better than 2, let's think out loud together. Tell me, what are you thinking about? Well, we want to sleep on it.
I'm
I'm so excited you brought that up. You're right. This is a big decision, isn't it? Yet, the decision must be based on what you want, correct? Let's do this. Sign the contract tonight, contingent upon your approval in 24 hours. That way we both win. Can I tell you how? You have 24 hours with no pressure, so you can feel comfortable and respond tonight. Then, I'll call you in the morning, and you simply tell me yes or no. If you say no, I'll rip up the contract, and you have no obligation. If you say yes, I'll begin marketing your property immediately. Either way, all we need to now is simply sign the contract, so I can help you get what you want, in the time you want. Won't that be great? Sign the contract. Alright, we've got time for one more. Okay. I have a friend in the business. Let's chant through that one. I have a friend in the business.
I'm
So excited you brought that up. I can appreciate that, and almost everyone does. So let me ask you, do you absolutely have to sell this home, or are you just looking to be friend favor? Obviously, you have me out for a reason, right? Do you feel like you sell your home? Yes? Terrific. All we need to do is simply sign the contract so I can help you get what you want in the time you want. Won't that be great? Sign the contract. Great. How many people know friends in the business? Everybody, right? Rick's favorite one is if you kick a bush, 2 realtors come out. You probably use that in your objections, right? Okay? It's true. Everyone knows somebody. Okay? That doesn't necessarily mean they want to use them. They might feel an obligation to them. So let's look at this a little bit more closely. I appreciate that. Almost everyone does. So we acknowledge the fact that they do have one and that most people do. So let me ask you this. Do you absolutely have to sell your home? Why are we asking if they absolutely have to sell their home?
Motivation.
Motivation. We want to make sure there's motivation. If the motivation is high, then we have a good chance of helping them through this process. If it's low, they might just want to work with their friend. Right? Okay? Or you're just looking to do your friend a favor. So let me ask you a question. If I said this and they said both, because they want to sell their home and they want to do their friend a favor. Now what are we going to do?
Well, wait a minute. I think he's implying though that if you do go with your friend, you're gonna have a less chance of selling your home, because it's either or.
Mhm.
Do you
Yeah.
absolutely
Right.
have to sell their home, your
Exactly.
home, or do your friend a favor?
Mhm.
He's separating those.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying is their objection is no, I want to do both of them. They're saying I want to do both. They're saying you can either do this or you can do this. That's how this is written. Okay, you can do this or you can do this. And they're saying, well, I want to do both of them. Now what?
That's when you use what we've been using in the morning and say, that's great. Working together, we can guarantee that you get your home sold and we can share half the commission with your friend.
Okay, so you just gave away half your commission.
Ah,
But
wrong.
what I'm
Mike's
No,
still
wait.
separating
Buyers.
on the next question.
Yeah.
Friends
So
versus buyers.
here's all what I'm suggesting. Just continue with the objection. Obviously, you had me out for a reason, right?
Right.
Do you feel I can sell your home? Yes. Terrific. Move forward. They want to do both. If you need to go more into depth on an objection, that's one thing. But don't stop these objections as you're going through them because you think you might have another answer. Okay, I want you to continue through it. Now, that's why we're talking about 3, because they might come back and say, yeah, I agree with that, but this is something else that I want. That's going deeper into the objection. You might have to ask another question to find out about it. The reason I bring that up is because we have a tendency to do what John just said, is we start to look at it and go, oh, they said, they didn't go with the script. They didn't say, I want to sell the home. They said something different than that. If they say something different than that, look at the objection. Well, whether they say yes or no or whatever they say, well, obviously you had me out for a reason, right? Okay? Do you feel like it's so? Yes.
Sorry, real quick, I didn't know if you saw me. What I wanted to say is a lot of times if we get an objection, we put so much emphasis on that objection that we don't lead them in the direction they need to go in getting their home sold. So we have to be careful if they're talking about friends, like, and we start talking about why not to use a friend and things like that. We're just putting emphasis on that and it becomes a bigger deal rather than leading them where they need to go. Does that make sense?
Exactly, because if they have you out there anyways, they all obviously have a doubt, right? They're meeting with you to either compare or to understand who else can sell the house better.
Yeah, if they're 100% convinced they're selling with their family member,
They would've.
you probably wouldn't be out there. Okay, so have that personal belief in your mind that what they're doing is they want you out there. There is some doubt there. There is some, I want to see what you can do, and if it makes more sense, then they'll work with you. So it's more of a confidence thing in that. And then what Chris was saying is absolutely right. Sometimes we get so caught up that the objection is like, I can't believe this is what they're talking about. And a lot of times when someone doesn't feel comfortable, like if I'm in a situation and I just don't feel right about it, but I don't know what it is, I'm going to give you lots of different objections until I can figure out what it is. It might not even be that. It might not, yeah, I got a friend in the business. I got like 5 friends in the business and I've never used any one of them. But they might say that because they're like, well, I'm not really sure why I don't feel it. And if you come across as like, oh wait, no, don't interview other agents. Oh, don't talk to those agents. And you're like being really defensive about it. Somebody like me would be like, oh yeah, okay, I'll go talk to my other agents. I'll go do that, right?
Yeah.
So, does that make sense?
Mhm.
Okay, let's chant through this one more time and then we'll end today. I have a friend in the business.
I'm so glad you brought that up. I can appreciate that, and almost everyone does. So, let me ask you,
Do you
absolutely have to sell this home, or are you just looking to your friend a favor? Obviously, you're having it all for a reason, right? You feel like you sell your home? Yes? Great. All we need now is simply sign a contract so I can help you get what you want in the time you want. Won't that be great? Sign a contract.
Awesome, great job today, guys. Any questions on the objection handlers?
On this one, don't forget to use upswings and downswings. Upswings to create the doubt and downswings to create kind of a command. That helps a lot.
How the hell do we wind up like this?
I see the last one. I lost it.
That we miss.
I know it's important to you. I remember the day. I really want that part. I got to tell you this. I know this is my favorite school. I like that place too. I really need myself. I got to know exactly how. I know some of these things. My reputation is out of this. I know my skill. I like talking. I love all. I hate no people. I know I do. I hate it. I know I can. I do. I do. I do. I pray. I will do all this. I can't. I live on the weekend. I'm on the gate. I live on the gate. I'm not good. I see my mom. I really want to. I have to. I really want to. I know I did.